This video is sponsored by War Thunder, but more on them later. Hello friends, it's been a while. I've taken a little extended break from the internet over the last month, and we are back and greeted by the inevitable. There are only three things certain in life: death, taxes, and a just outstanding Earth 2 update blog. So I realised in my last video that a lot of people aren't aware of what Earth 2 is, because I kind of skipped the recap, because I know that a lot of people get sick of the recaps. However, the one time I skipped the recap is the one time that I probably shouldn't have, because there was so much context missing for anyone who's just finding these videos for the first time. So it's time for a recap. Now, for those of you who are fortunate enough to not know what Earth 2 is, let me give you the TLDR. Earth 2 is a game that around 4 or 5 years ago was kind of kickstarted, not through Kickstarter, but through its own website and a vicious Google ad campaign that was apparently the metaverse, the everything game. You could do whatever you wanted, wherever you wanted, and it was built on a full Earth-scale globe that was reset back to the Stone Age with no buildings, nothing, just fresh, clean Earth, untouched, unsoiled. And how could you take part in this? Well, it was very simple. You purchased tiles on a sphere. Now, you're probably already noticing a problem with tiles on a sphere, but that is the least of their worries, so we're just going to pretend that's not a problem for now. So this game launched during COVID, and they were selling pictures of Google Earth, just PNGs, to gullible people at like a seemingly small price. But they then said that for you to do anything meaningful with them, you'll need a lot of land. So people started buying lots and lots of land. And you might be thinking, surely not many people actually bought into this BS, right? Well, wrong. After the first year, after we came out of the COVID slump, they announced profits of raising $100 million. They claim to be the biggest startup ever. So this company has at least $100 million minimum. That is ground zero. That is the minimum. Because there have been 4 years since then where we don't know how much they've raised. So we know it's at least 100 million. Let's just say like things went south real quick after that. They've got at least 125 million, right? This game existed in no form or function. They showed off a lot of pre-rendered trailers of a world that isn't representative of what the game actually is. And you might be thinking, wait, the game's actually out? Oh boy, just wait, we'll get there. And they just kept raking in money. Every update, by the way, this wasn't a game, this was on their website, you could purchase all of this. They started releasing things like Mentars, which were a vibrating love egg that sat on your land and just jostled about a bit. Then they added gems and jewels and all these other things, and then skins. You could buy skins for your character for a game that wasn't even out. And this cycle repeated, basically ad infinitum. It just never ended. Oh, and this isn't even to go into the fact that players who put money into the system were told they could withdraw it at any time. And I said, there's no way they're going to allow that. They're just going to freeze withdrawals and hold money hostage at some point. It's basically their terms of service outline the kind of roadmap of a plan to do that. Everyone's like, no, we're not going to do that. The Earth 2 team's like, no, we're not going to do that. Boom, 6 months later, they do that. Wow, what a shocker. Who saw that coming? Literally everyone outside of Earth 2 saw that coming. But I digress. So with everyone's money that was on the platform held hostage now, and oh, by the way, I have to say this because the Earth 2 crowd's going to go mad if I don't, you can technically withdraw some money if you agree to have your ransomed balance converted into Essence, which is their cryptocurrency, which has been tanking like an absolute rock because there's no utility. You can convert it to that and then find a platform to sell it on, pay all the fees, and cash out less than you put in. So, good job. You can do that. So there's my fulfillment to the Earth 2 community of being completely upfront and honest on how BS their model is. Now, there's a lot of other things that happened in between, hilarious things, their content creators going berserk and just lying about things, basically being unpaid shills, but we don't really care about any of that. That's in the past. We'll let bygones be bygones with that. Flash forward to today, 2025, Earth 2 finally released some version, some semblance of the game. What was it? Well, it was a single player globe that you could fly around and then click where you want to spawn. But then when you spawned in, it was completely pitch black. Like, I'm talking see nothing pitch black, which was a bug. But the community came rallying out and said, no, that is absolutely intentional. That is a very smart decision that was made by our Lord and Saviour, Shane Isaac. That is the CEO of the company. And yeah, a lot of people in the last video who I could see from never seeing these names before had watched this Earth 2 video as a first time and didn't understand that the thing I was critiquing wasn't just a pre-alpha. It was a pre-alpha that cost $100 million minimum and took 5 years. And they also showed a much better looking, more performant, wow, it's actually way better than we said it was going to be kind of version 2 years prior. And then they release something that is not even comparable in the slightest. It's actually far, far worse and with nothing to do. So they eventually patched the darkness bug. You know, that works now. They fixed a few little things. So the release was update 1. The fixes were update 2, so they're not really updates, it's release and then fixing the release. And now, we have update 3, which I would say is the first update altogether. And oh my god, is this exciting. Because, my god, they've only gone and done it. I can't even keep a straight face, I'm sorry. Okay, so here we are. We're on Earth 2 Reality Thread 3 introduces global multiplayer across entire digital Earth. Oh my god, this guy should start doing YouTube because that's a fantastic title. In fact, you know what? I might use that as the title for this video. Probably not, though. Okay, let's see what they've got going on here, what they've been cooking up in the kitchen. August 24th. Oh my god, okay. I already know where I've got to go with this. August 24th, 2025, Sydney, Australia. Over the past 4 weeks, Earth 2 development team has remained laser focused on a number of updates to further progress our platform, tuning out distractions and external noise. That's just what you're meant to do as a team. Just focus on the game. God damn it, man. Today we are pleased to announce the release of Reality Thread 3, which includes one of the most significant milestones in our project to date. The first release, don't worry, there'll be a second release because this is going to go tits up real quick, of our global multiplayer system. Multiplayer is a foundational component of Earth 2 version 1 E2v1. As outlined in our original Reality Thread 1 article, a dedicated team has been quietly building a server-authoritative multiplayer system in parallel with the Earth 2 developments. This multiplayer system is ahead of schedule and version 1 will be live shortly for testers in the closed pre-alpha. Releasing it at this stage ensures Earth 2 version 1 updates can be structured around a multiplayer core rather than releasing more features and treating it as a retrofit. That's literally what we said from the beginning when you started developing everything without multiplayer. That you would have to go back and retrofit it. So are we developing your game? Or are you? Because genuinely, this is just, oh my... This feels like I'm reliving the Dreamworld saga. And if you haven't watched anything about Dreamworld or heard about it, God help you, because that's a rabbit hole you're going to fall head first down. Dreamworld did the same thing. They cobbled together a load of nothing that no one asked for, such as adding gliders and all this stuff that wasn't part of the promised, purchased product. It was all just, oh, we found an asset pack, let's cram that in there. And never actually delivering on the things they promised, because they started to realise, wow, the things we've promised are so absurd that we can't deliver them. So let's start delivering on just random things that no one actually wanted or purchased. While releasing the multiplayer now may introduce some delays in future feature releases, it is a deliberate and strategic decision aimed at reducing future technical debt and significantly improving the long-term player experience. Oh, I bet it will. Building Earth 2 in fact, you know what? Let's not even get to that yet, because the important thing here is they did release multiplayer. The problem is, this is a closed pre-alpha. And what we said is, you're not going to be able to release a global multiplayer system for the entire Earth with millions of players all playing. And they haven't. Because in their own words, this is only accessible by 150 people. However, we found the number to be far lower than that, purely based on how many people they're managing to gather for the one and only event that they host in the game. It was 8. So, there's that. And now you might be thinking, what do you have to do to get pre-alpha closed access to this game that people have put tons of money in? Well, I'm going to tell you, after a quick word from our sponsor. War Thunder is the most comprehensive vehicle combat game ever made and is available now for free on PC, console and mobile devices. War Thunder has lots of unique features, such as their X-ray damage view. If your vehicle or an enemy is destroyed, War Thunder shows you exactly what happened. In X-ray view, you'll see precisely where the shell penetrated, which components were affected, and what ultimately led to your vehicle's final blow. Take command of over 2,500 tanks, planes, helicopters, and ships of 10 major nations, ranging from biplanes and armoured cars of the 1920s to the fighter jets and main battle tanks of today. Immerse yourself in the intense combat of War Thunder, where incredibly detailed vehicles, realistic graphics, and authentic sound effects place you right at the helm of the most powerful war machines of our time. War Thunder runs on the in-house developed Dagger engine, which is heavily optimized to deliver a lag-free experience with impressive visuals and a high frame rate even on lower-end machines. Join a worldwide community of over 95 million players in epic PvP battles today, and delve into the breathtaking experience that is War Thunder. With an unmatched wealth of high-quality content to discover, there's simply no game better suited for fans of military history. So, whether you're a PC master race, a console warrior, or a mobile hero, sign up to War Thunder today using my links in the description or pinned comment. And if you're a new or returning player that hasn't played in the last 6 months on PC or consoles, you'll also receive a massive bonus pack. This includes the elusive Eagle of Valor vehicle decorator, 100,000 silver lions, 7 days of premium account, and multiple premium vehicles. So you're all wondering, how do you get access to this elusive, mysterious game? That, again, may I remind you, many people have put tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars into and still have nothing to play. Well, there's a really simple and fair way to do that, to get into this. You need to put more money in, you absolute disgraceful pay piggy. You've not put enough in Daddy's wallet. You need to put more in. No, I'm not joking. The recent updates to get into this are just insane. This is the system that they've decided to go with. Earth 2 Badges System. There are 2 main badge systems. First, badges are awarded based on the total number of tiles in the game. Okay. Second, badges are awarded based on the number of tiles in each country. The badge system based on the total number of tiles is as followed. Top owner, most tile users. Don't know what that means. But anyway, Overlord. Oh wait, do they mean most tile owner? Because top owner, basically top owner is the person who owns the most amount of tiles in the game, which by the way currently stands at hundreds of thousands of dollars. If you spend hundreds of thousands of dollars, you can pre-alpha test the game that you've already spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on. That's absurd. Overlord, over 1 million tiles. Again, that is tens of thousands of dollars. Emperor, 750,000 tiles. Again, that's still tens of thousands. Archduke, over 50,000 tiles. You're still in the thousands of dollars to be able to test a game. Grand Baron, over 250,000 tiles. Again, at this point, we're still in the thousands of dollars. This is absurd. And then it goes down and down and down and down and down. Bear in mind, this is a global leaderboard. There will be one person for each of these. So whoever spent the most within that bracket gets to test the game, which, if you watch the last video, you'll know that consists of nothing other than picking berries off a bush, drinking water out the ocean, and really trying not to die from the buggy physics. I couldn't make a better parody of what I thought Earth 2 was going to be than the Earth 2 people themselves. I couldn't. I could not do it. The badges awarded based on the number of tiles in each country are in the same order as the badges above, and the exact reward criteria will be announced later because, my god, would that have been too hard to just attach that to this screenshot. So Earth 2 have been testing their multiplayer, which I have some reservations about. There's something awry here. Next to every user's name, there is a number. Now, we all assumed, obviously, that's the player ID. But then we started to notice it was changing on the same person from day to day. The number changed. Now, it's apparently being said that that is the amount of times people have logged into the game and what number login they were, including re-logins and consecutive logins from the same person on any given day. Which, to clarify, from a game perspective, there is absolutely no benefit, no rhyme, no reason to display that number because it means nothing. It's just wasted UI space. The only reason you would do that is if you were trying to say, look guys, how many times we've had logins on this game where there is nothing to do. And I find that really strange. But what I find stranger is it's currently showing that there was like 6,000 or 5,000 logins or something, maybe 4,000, I don't even know. But it seems to me like there was an arbitrary number picked in the beginning that they're just incrementing each day and with each login to try and falsely inflate how many people are playing this game, which, as you've been seeing in the background, there's no gameplay still. There's just nothing. Now this blog post goes on to basically pat their own back and say, in 90% of streamed footage, which is like 4 people, I just want to make that clear, it's like 4 people. In 90% of that footage, they're seeing absolutely bug-free gameplay. So I don't know whose gameplay they're watching, because any that I tune into, there are bugs everywhere. So please share with me these streamers, because I would really like to see what the optimal gameplay looks like for this game. So let's see what they have to say about the multiplayer, because we know this is only going to be good. The headline feature of Reality Thread 3 is the launch of multiplayer version 1. What do you mean version 1 of multiplayer? Whatever. A live, fully functioning, server-authoritative system built to operate across Earth 2's vast, very large number, open world. Technical overview. This is the bit I love. As any experienced game developer will attest, implementing multiplayer is inherently challenging, and even more so with the context of a massive open world. My god, we've been saying that. Our development team has not only met this challenge and demonstrated in our initial multiplayer release, but has also invested time and resources into refining interpolation to ensure a smoother and more consistent experience between players, and implemented an automated dynamic culling system customized for the massive open world of E2v1. What does that mean? Culling what? Players? Because that's all that would matter for the multiplayer side. Like, realistically. Everything else is static, so that doesn't really matter. That's represented on the player's client visually. So, like, give us more details on this, because that's not impressive in the context of nothing. Earth 2's multiplayer system should not be misinterpreted as only a multiplayer stress test, which is common during pre-alpha stage releases. Instead, our V1 represents a fully functional and integrated multiplayer system capable of handling automated connections, disconnections, mode switching, and much more, all operating across the big number again. Your multiplayer system is supposed to handle connects and disconnects. I would argue that is the one feature that is mandatory for a multiplayer system. What does this even mean? Genuinely. Automated mode switching. To support the unique structure of E2v1's environment, we developed a custom system that intelligently switches between multiplayer and single-player modes based on a player's activity and server availability. So how is it server authoritative if you're switching them into single player? Because that can't be server authoritative, because to do that you'd have to be connected to the server, to the multiplayer. Which in that case, why would they not stay in multiplayer mode? Explain? Like, you guys need to explain this better, because I'm not understanding any of the purpose of this. Because if it is what I think it is, you've circumvented the entire purpose of a server authoritative model. Players can still experience an API-supported single-player mode without interruption. Multiplayer mode is automatically triggered the moment a character is spawned, and it deactivates when a character is saved or dies without revival. This seamless switching mechanic allows players to move between multiplayer and free flight exploration. They've got free cam on death. I hate that they paint this as something hyper-technical. It's not. Importantly, we have designed this logic to prevent potential abuse, ensuring multiplayer is only initialized when character mode is accessed. This is an intentional decision to maintain fairness and integrity across player interactions. Without these safeguards, features such as the free fly camera could be exploited to scope out or observe other players without the mutual risk of visibility that comes with shared multiplayer presence. So in other words, it kicks you into single player when you go into free cam, which wouldn't represent the world you're in, so the free cam is pointless. Or are they just saying that you won't see other players and that's why they've swapped it to single player? In which case, why not just hide other players? There's a flag for that in most game engines by default. In fact, most game engines have a game mode called Spectator that already has the options to disable the viewing of other players. What are you on about? Basically saying in the future they're planning to remove free flight outside of multiplayer altogether because vehicles will be used for that. Oh my god, so in 20 years' time you might be able to fly around in a DeLorean or something, I don't know. Synced states and interactions. Basically, they're saying our multiplayer system does what any basic multiplayer system is required to do. Replicate animations. When a player moves, show that they've moved on another screen. When their health changes, everyone else should see the health change. It's mad to me that this is a thing. And the more we go on, the more brain damage I get. Line of sight character occlusion. Basically saying if a player's hidden behind something, you won't see. Bear with me. If they're behind a mountain, you won't see their health bar. And they're doing that for fairness. Not because that's a standard thing in literally, most games. Because that's just how it's done. You don't need to see someone's health if you're not in combat with them and they're behind a mountain. Like, we're talking big terrain. I'm going to spare you a lot of this because it just gives you brain damage listening to this. It's like a 2-year-old. No, it's like your mom. No, that's an insult to moms. My mom's great. She knows a lot of stuff. I used to play Halo with her. In fact, I used to force her to be my bot on RuneScape and play the fishing trawler for me because I absolutely hated it. Moms are great. It's like your nan saying, oh, what's a massive multiplayer online role-playing game, grandson? And then you have to explain it to her, and she goes, well, why can't I see the people behind the mountain? And it's like, well, Nan, that's because... And then you explain the basics. This is what this feels like. Earth 2 manages to consistently surprise, in the worst ways possible. I really find it hard to believe that this isn't just a parody at this point. And I would believe this to be the case if money wasn't involved and they hadn't taken money and this was just a proposal plan for a game. But the fact they've taken $100 million and all people can do is gather up in the world together and collectively drink water together or crouch on the floor together for a screenshot or run across a desert... Like, that's it. Those are the events they've been running. I find it really hard to believe that this is a real thing, but then again, it is somehow. And this brings me on to my last thing. And this is something I posted about on Twitter and in my Discord. And this, to me, just highlights the level of delusion that some of the people in Earth 2 are going through. On the last update... Me and another YouTuber, Big Fry TV, both made videos taking a look at their multiplayer. This is taking a look at their at the pre-alpha release of their game, because this is a monumental moment. Like, what has $100 million and 5 years brought people? What has it purchased? Well, the Earth 2 community weren't happy with that, and instead they decided to try and dox me and Big Fry because. Why not, right? That'll show us that we're wrong about it. And I find it kind of funny. Like, I find it funny and sad at the same time. That we've got to this point in Earth 2 where I point out something that is fundamentally wrong with Earth 2, and instead of the Earth 2 bros coming back and saying, actually, here's the evidence on the contrary, like, you're wrong, and here's my evidence. Well, they can't do that anymore, because the product's out there. It's there for everyone to look at. The criticisms can no longer hide behind, oh, well, just wait for them to show the game off and let people play. They can't hide behind that anymore. So they don't have a defense or, a straw man to prop up in front of them. They've now resorted to actively gathering in a Facebook group centered around Earth 2 and actively, like, boasting about the fact that they're trying to dox us and they think they're getting close to finding our home address. This is how deranged a lot of the Earth 2 members are, and I want to touch on this. This comes only a month after something that I haven't mentioned on YouTube yet, which is where another member of the Earth 2 community joined my Discord, said, haha, you're wrong about Earth 2, and I simply said, what about? And they went, oh, about this, this, and this. And I went, okay, can you provide me evidence? And they were like, well, I can't, or, arguing semantics. And I'm like, then how can you tell me I'm wrong about it? And they got really angry about that. And the next day decided to post pictures of my house and car in the Discord. Like, I've got Earth 2 members actively stalking me because they don't agree with my opinion on a game that is now accessible. It's revealed. It's out there. There is no smoke and mirrors anymore. It's there for all eyes to see. And they don't like that my opinion differs from theirs. So, we're living in a wild time. We really are. And I hope this turns into something similar to Dreamworld. Not that I think it'll, have a redemption arc or anything, but the early days of Dreamworld, where with weekly updates, or monthly updates in this case, we can take a dive in every week, every month, and see what meaningful progress this $100 million 5-year-long project is actually making on a weekly or monthly basis. Because I'll reason to bet that it's not a lot. Goddamn moth in my room. That's an absolute beast. I'm going to eclipse the sun. Anyway, ladies and gents, a massive thank you as always to the patrons. You guys absolutely rock. If you enjoy these videos, please subscribe. We are heading for 100k, and I hope to do it by early next year. You can make that change. And as always, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace. Shout out to War Thunder again for sponsoring today's video. Make sure to check out War Thunder now, free on PC, PlayStation, Xbox, or on mobile. And use my links in the pinned comment or video description to register. Those of you who are new or haven't played in 6 months will also receive a massive bonus pack across PC and console, including the elusive Eagle of Valor vehicle decorator, 100,000 silver lions, 7 days of premium account, and multiple premium vehicles.